Yo, what up everybody? So today I want to have a conversation that I've been wanting to have for a really long time, like as far back as episode 63 of the Boruto anime, but because I wasn't reviewing the anime at the time and because of all the crazy things that have happened in the last 8 months, I've never really gotten around to making this topic that this video is about. And so given all the information that we have, I think now's a really good time for us to be talking about the death of Hinata Hyuga, in particular the death of Hinata during the whole Boruto versus Kawaki stuff. And that's one of the things that a lot of people have brought up in discussion about, well, if Naruto sealed away, then what the hell was Hinata doing that time? And at first I thought that was just something as simple as like Hinata tards getting all worked up and saying, oh my god, what happened to Mrs. Funbags? But then I got to thinking about it and I said, damn, this is a really good question. And when you start thinking about it on a deeper level and on a more symbolic level, and especially when you start considering all the stuff that Momoshiki talked about when he said that Boruto's eyes would take everything away from him, that's when everything just started to click for me. I'm like, oh snap, I could see a real reason as well as a real craft reason for having Hinata killed off. And so it's why I want to kind of bring this to you guys' attention. So one of the things that a lot of Hinata fans like to say is that Hinata might not have Kushina Uzumaki's quick temper, but she does have some Kushina Uzumaki's qualities. And at first I was like, I don't quite see it, but then as I went back and I looked at the Pain arc and I watched how Hinata just willingly took every inch of Pain's black rod as he shoved it inside of her, as I started watching that and I watched how she was willing to give her life for Naruto in the war arc when the Jubi was firing off all those spikes and Hinata was willing to take every single stab from behind. And of course we know that Neji was the one who intercepted. And so when you start looking at that, I'm like, damn, even then, like when Momoshiki grabs Naruto in Boruto the movie as well as in the anime, like she tries to fight him off screen and she tries to fight off Momoshiki and Kinshiki. And one thing that we've seen over and over is that Hinata Hyuga's love for Naruto is gonna lead her to doing something severely irrational, and this would be the one time where Hinata might make the ultimate sacrifice, because we've seen that she's willing to do it before. And even when she has like her daughter and her son there, her love for Naruto, I believe, might come before anything else. Now I know a few people who are parents and like to say, well, the life of your child is something that always comes before your spouse, and yet at the same time I think with Hinata, I think Hinata loves her children as well as her husband equally. And it's for that reason that I could see if Himawari has been put someplace safe, if Boruto's currently not in the picture and Hinata steps in order to save Naruto, something I could see happening, especially given the circumstances of what's happening with Kawaki in the Boruto manga right now. And because this isn't the time of the month where I talk about spoilers, I'm not going to go any further on that because I don't want to spoil the anime only viewers. Though what I will say is that things are getting really interesting in the Boruto manga, and I'm going to use this as a very cheap plug to try and get you guys to start checking out the manga. So with that being said, let's kind of gravitate back towards this. Now I think that this would be really important if we get to a point where Hinata Hyuga, when she tries to stop Kawaki from, say, sealing Naruto away or maybe going a step further and killing Naruto, I think that if we have the scenario where Naruto gets sealed away somewhere, I think actually killing Hinata would be a great way to not only push Naruto but also push something deeper inside of Boruto. Because one of the things you have to look at is, for the character Naruto Uzumaki, his character right now is essentially being a family man. He's a family man in regards to the bigger scope of the picture, being the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village and treating the village like it's his family. And that's his lifelong dream, to become the Hokage, be acknowledged by everybody and protect the village. And now you have Kawaki blowing up the village, potentially killing a lot of innocent civilians as well as other ninja. And then on the other side, Naruto's identity as a literal husband and father has now been shaken up, because we don't know what happened to Boruto to where his eye could have been cut. We don't know if Himawari's alive during this time. And so for Naruto to lose his wife, it'd be very interesting to see how he reacts, because you could could kind of parallel that to the whole thing what happened with Minato. So when you look at what happened with Minato when his backstory was revealed in Naruto chapter 501, 2, 3, when Kushina was going over the events of what happened on Naruto's birth, one of the things we see is that Minato was given a scenario where he knew his wife was about to die. He was in a very emotional state, and yet he still chose the safety of the village, the well-being and the future of the village over raising his son and over his wife's wishes, because he had to balance being Hokage with being a father. And so the way you could kind of parallel that with Naruto is Naruto has failed as a Hokage. His village has been destroyed. He's potentially failed as being a husband, not being able to protect his wife, the same wife who on multiple occasions threw herself in front of a lethal blow for Naruto. And so I think that this would be something that could very well show us something about Naruto's character, to not only see how far he is matured, but also to see how Hokage Naruto deals with being on a war on two fronts that he can't just smash with a Rasengan. I think that'd be really cool to see. And then on the flip side of that, I think that the death of Hinata would accomplish something that series creator Masashi Kishimoto has talked about in the past, where Kishimoto said that he's okay with potentially killing off Naruto and other characters in the previous generation if it leads to character development for the new generation of characters, if it leads to Boruto going through a different level of change. And we know that this is something that both the anime and manga treat very seriously, because one of the things that's been revealed in recent months is that, in particular when it comes to Boruto anime, when it comes to any major changes to Boruto Uzumaki's character, any major development, Kodachi has final say on it. Kodachi will look at what the writing team is coming up with, and he'll nip it in the bud if he thinks it's going to contradict what he's setting up for Boruto in the future. So I really think that this is something that, if they introduce this into the manga, this would kind of keep in line with what Boruto's character has been developing towards in the anime and manga, which is understanding the darker side of the ninja world, which is understanding that with great power also comes great responsibility, but also understanding the limits of your vessel, knowing that you can't protect everybody. And that's something that, you know, even Naruto, when you go back to the war, like Naruto was told by Itachi, like, hey, you can't protect everybody, you can't fight every single battle, you have to learn to trust in everybody. And then Naruto just proceeds to give his chakra to every single ninja on the battlefield. And I think that's probably why Kishimoto initially thought about killing off Neji, and then pivoted to the whole thing about killing Neji as a way to bring Naruto and Hinata closer. But I think that this would be a really good idea to kind of circle back to what Itachi was telling Naruto. And when it comes to Boruto, I think this would be a really good lesson for Boruto to learn, because Kawaki's attack on the Hidden Leaf Village is just as much of Boruto's fault as it might be Naruto Uzumaki's fault. And for those of you who read the manga, you're probably aware of what that actually is. And so I want to kind of drop this off to you guys. How do you think the death of Hinata should be handled, or do you think it's a bad idea? And if you were to have Hinata killed, how would you execute it? Would you just go complete Game of Thrones style where she gets her head chopped off, or would you have her die in a very poetic way where she takes a blow that's meant to seal Naruto, and the last thing Naruto sees is his wife dying before he's sealed away somewhere? I'm really interested to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, and have an incredible day, guys.